Anytime someone tells me blood is thicker than water, I think about the day I got uninvited from my daughter's wedding. The daughter I raised. The daughter I sacrificed everything for. The daughter who chose a stranger over me because that stranger happened to give birth to her. My name is Patricia, and this is the story of how I learned that being a mother and being a mom are two completely different things, and how the woman who destroyed my heart learned that some betrayals come with consequences. Before we start, tell me where you're watching from. Drop your city or country in the comments below. And if you've ever been betrayed by someone you loved unconditionally, someone you would have died for, go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel because I share real stories about real people. And this one is going to break your heart before it puts it back together. Share this with anyone who needs to understand that family isn't always about DNA. Let me take you back to 2009. I met James Morrison at a community fundraiser. He was a single father, 34 years old, raising his 6-year-old daughter Emma alone. His wife, Emma's biological mother Christina, had left them 3 years earlier. Just walked out one day and never came back. No phone calls, no birthday cards, no explanation. Just gone. James was doing his best, working full-time as an electrician, trying to be both mom and dad to this sweet little girl with big brown eyes and the saddest smile I'd ever seen. Emma was quiet, withdrawn, afraid to get too close to anyone because the most important person in her world had abandoned her. I was 31, divorced, no children of my own. I'd spent my 20s building my career as a dental hygienist, and my marriage had fallen apart because my ex-husband wanted kids, and I wasn't sure I did. Ironic, considering what happened next. James and I started dating. He was upfront from the beginning. Emma comes first, always. If you can't handle that, I understand. I respected that, loved that about him actually. Our first date, he brought Emma along, took us to a children's museum. I watched this little girl, so careful and polite, asking permission before touching anything, apologizing when she laughed too loud. She'd been taught to make herself small, to not expect too much, to not trust that good things would stay. Something in me broke open that day. I started spending more time with them. James would invite me to dinner, and I'd help Emma with her homework. We'd go to the park, and I'd push her on the swings. She was hesitant at first, keeping me at arm's length, testing me, waiting for me to leave like her mother had. But I didn't leave. 6 months into dating James, Emma had a school event, Mother's Day tea party. All the kids were supposed to bring their mums. Emma told her teacher she couldn't come because she didn't have a mum. When James told me this, my heart shattered. "Can I take her?" I asked. "I know I'm not her mum, but if she wants someone there..." "She would love that," James said quietly. "She talks about you all the time." I took Emma to that Mother's Day tea party. She introduced me to her teacher as my dad's girlfriend Patricia. But when we sat down and the teacher wasn't listening, she whispered, "Is it okay if I pretend you're my mum, just for today?" I held her hand. "You can pretend anything you want, sweetheart." She held my hand through the whole party. When we made crafts, she made me a card that said, "Best mom ever," with a drawing of us holding hands. I still have that card, even now, even after everything. James and I got married a year later, when Emma was 7. At our wedding, Emma was the flower girl. She wore a pink dress and carried a basket of rose petals, and when the officiant asked if anyone objected to the marriage, Emma yelled out, "I don't object. I want Patricia to be my mum." Everyone laughed. I cried. James cried. It was perfect. After the wedding, I legally adopted Emma. Christina had abandoned her parental rights years ago, so there was no one to contest it. Emma Morrison became Emma Morrison Cooper, my daughter, legally, officially, and I took that role seriously. I was the one who braided her hair every morning before school, who packed her lunches with little notes that said, "You're amazing, and I'm proud of you," who sat through every parent-teacher conference, every school play, every soccer game where she sat on the bench because she wasn't very athletic but wanted to try anyway. I was the one who taught her to ride a bike, who held her when she had nightmares, who stayed up late helping her with science projects and book reports, who took her to get her first bra when she was too embarrassed to ask her dad, who explained periods and boys and heartbreak and all the things mothers teach their daughters. I was there when she got her first period at school and was mortified. I brought her clean clothes and chocolate and told her it was okay, that every woman goes through this, that she wasn't alone. I was there for her first heartbreak at 14, when a boy named Tyler told everyone she was ugly. I held her while she cried and then took her to get her hair done and told her she was beautiful and Tyler was an idiot. I was there when she got accepted to college. We screamed and cried together in the kitchen, and I helped her fill out financial aid forms and drove her to campus tours and helped her move into her dorm room. I was there for everything, every milestone, every triumph, every failure, every moment that mattered. James used to joke that Emma loved me more than she loved him. But it wasn't a competition. We were a family. Emma had two parents who adored her, who would do anything for her. And Emma seemed happy. She called me Mom, not Patricia. Mom. She introduced me as her mother to her friends, her teachers, her boyfriends. On Mother's Day, she made me breakfast in bed. On my birthday, she made me homemade cards telling me I was the best mum in the world. I believed her. For 12 years, I believed her. Emma graduated from college last year with a degree in marketing. She got a good job at an advertising firm in the city, moved into a nice apartment. She was 23 years old, confident, successful, happy. Everything James and I had worked so hard to help her become. And she'd been dating a man named Derek for 2 years. He was 25, worked in finance, came from money. Nice enough guy, though I always felt like he looked down on James and me a little bit. We weren't wealthy. We were working-class people who'd scraped and saved to give Emma every opportunity. But Emma loved him, so we welcomed him. Last October, Derek proposed. Big, elaborate proposal at a fancy restaurant, photographer hiding in the bushes, the whole production. Emma called me crying happy tears. "Mom, I'm getting engaged. Derek proposed. I said yes." I screamed. I cried. I told her I was so happy for her, because I was. She asked me to help her plan the wedding, said she wanted a spring wedding, something elegant but not too formal. She wanted to get married in a garden, wanted pastel colors, wanted it to be perfect. I threw myself into wedding planning, went to every dress fitting, helped her choose flowers and colors and venue. I gave her my savings to help pay for things because Derek's family was paying for most of it, but there were still expenses. I wanted her day to be perfect. We picked out her dress together in January. A beautiful ivory mermaid gown with lace sleeves. When she came out of the dressing room, I cried. She looked so beautiful, so grown up. My little girl, who I'd raised from age 6, was getting married. "You look perfect, sweetheart," I told her. She hugged me. "Thank you for everything, Mum. For being here. For helping me plan this. For being the best mother I could have asked for." I held her and thought my heart would burst with love and pride. The wedding was scheduled for June 15th. 3 months away. Everything was planned. The venue was booked. Invitations were sent. My dress was bought. I was going to walk Emma down the aisle with James. She wanted both of us. Then, in late April, everything changed. Emma called me on a Tuesday afternoon. Her voice sounded strange, distant. "Mum, can we talk?" "Of course, honey. What's wrong?" "I need to tell you something, and I need you not to be upset." My stomach dropped. "What happened? Are you okay? Is it Derek?" "No, nothing like that. It's... My birth mother contacted me." The world stopped. "What?" "Christina? She found me on Facebook 3 months ago. We've been talking, getting to know each other." 3 months. 3 months. And she hadn't told me. "Emma, why didn't you tell me?" "Because I knew you'd be upset. And I wasn't sure if it was real or if she'd disappear again. But Mum, she's changed. She's been sober for 5 years. She went to rehab, got therapy, rebuilt her life. And she wants to be in my life now. She wants to know me." Sober. So Christina had been an addict. That's why she left. James had never told me the full story, just said Christina had her demons. "I'm happy you got closure," I said carefully. "That must mean a lot to you." "It does. And Mom, she wants to come to the wedding. She wants to meet you and Dad. She wants to be part of this." Every instinct in my body screamed no, but I swallowed it down. "If that's what you want, honey." "Thank you. I knew you'd understand." But I didn't understand. I was terrified. Terrified that the woman who'd abandoned Emma would waltz back in and erase me. Terrified that biology would trump the 12 years I'd spent being Emma's mother. I told myself I was being paranoid, that Emma loved me, that nothing would change. I was wrong. If you're still watching, hit that subscribe button, because what happens next is going to make you furious. Christina came to town 2 weeks later. Emma invited her to dinner at her apartment, and she invited James and me to meet her. I didn't want to go, but James said we should, that we should support Emma. We showed up at Emma's apartment at 7, and there she was. Christina Walsh. 43 years old, thin, blonde, with the same brown eyes as Emma. She was dressed simply, jeans and a nice blouse, minimal makeup. She looked nervous. "Hi," she said quietly when Emma introduced us. "Thank you for coming, and thank you for taking care of my daughter all these years." My daughter. Not our daughter. Not the daughter I raised. My daughter. "Of course," I said, my voice tight. Dinner was awkward. Christina told her story. How she'd gotten pregnant young, married James at 20, had Emma at 21. How she'd suffered from postpartum depression that spiraled into addiction. Pills first, then alcohol, then harder drugs. How she'd left when Emma was 3 because she couldn't take care of her, couldn't be a mother, couldn't function. "I knew James would take better care of her than I could," Christina said, tears in her eyes. "I thought I was doing the right thing, letting her go so she could have a better life." Emma was crying, holding Christina's hand. I felt sick. Because here's the thing. I understand addiction is a disease. I understand mental health struggles are real. I understand Christina was in pain. But she left. For 12 years, she left. No phone calls, no letters, no child support, no birthday cards, nothing. And now she was back. And Emma was looking at her like she was a hero for surviving her demons, like leaving was an act of love instead of abandonment. "I'm just so grateful you had Patricia," Christina said, looking at me. "Emma tells me you've been wonderful to her, that you've been a real mother to her." A real mother. As if I wasn't one because I didn't give birth to her. "I did my best," I said. After dinner, as James and I were leaving, Emma hugged me. Thank you for being so understanding, Mum. I know this is weird, but it means everything that you're supporting me. I love you, I said. I'll always support you. I meant it, even though I was terrified. Over the next few weeks, Christina became more and more involved in Emma's life. They had lunch together, went shopping together. Weeks before the wedding, Emma called me. Mom, I need to talk to you about something. What's up, honey? It's about the wedding. About Christina. My chest tightened. Okay. She really wants to be involved. And I've been thinking, she's my birth mother. She gave me life. And I think I want her to have a special role in the wedding. What kind of role? I want her to walk me down the aisle, instead of you and Dad. The phone slipped from my hand. I picked it up with shaking fingers. What? I know this is hard. But Mom, she's my mother, my biological mother. And having her walk me down the aisle, it feels right. It feels like forgiveness, like giving her a second chance. Emma, I've been your mother for 12 years. I raised you. I was there for everything. And I'm so grateful for that. But Christina is my mum, my real mum, and I need you to understand that. Real mom, as if I wasn't real, as if 12 years meant nothing because I didn't birth her. So where does that leave me? I asked, my voice breaking. You can still come to the wedding. Of course you can come. You'll sit with Dad. But Christina will walk me down the aisle, and she'll be in the family photos, and she'll sit at the head table. And what about me? You'll be there. Just not in the primary role. I couldn't breathe. Emma, I don't think you understand what you're asking. I'm not asking, Mom. I'm telling you. This is my wedding, my choice, and I choose to honor my biological mother. She hung up. I sat there in my kitchen, staring at the wall, and I felt something inside me die. James came home from work and found me crying. What happened? I told him. He was furious. She can't do this to you. I'm calling her. He did. They fought. Emma told him the same thing, that Christina was her real mother, that she deserved to be honored, that I should be grateful I was even invited. Grateful. James told Emma that if Christina walked her down the aisle, he wouldn't be at the wedding either. Fine, Emma said. Then neither of you come. Christina will walk me down the aisle alone. She chose Christina, over both of us, over the people who'd actually raised her. 2 days later, I got an email from Emma. The subject line said, "Wedding update." The email said, "Dear Patricia, after much consideration, I've decided it would be best if you didn't attend the wedding. Your presence would make Christina uncomfortable, and I don't want any tension on my special day. I hope you understand. Thank you for everything you've done for me over the years." Emma? Patricia. Not Mom, Patricia. And I was uninvited from the wedding I'd helped plan, that I'd helped pay for the daughter I'd raised, because my presence would make Christina uncomfortable. I showed James the email. He immediately called Emma. If Patricia isn't invited, I'm not coming either. And Emma, I need you to understand what you're doing. You're choosing a woman who abandoned you for 12 years over the woman who raised you, over the woman who was there for every single moment of your life. She's my mother, Emma screamed. Why can't you understand that? Why does everyone expect me to just forget about her? No one's asking you to forget her. We're asking you not to erase Patricia, not to throw away 12 years like they meant nothing. They did mean something. But Christina is my mum, and if you can't accept that, then don't come to my wedding. He didn't go. Neither of us did. June 15th, the day of Emma's wedding, James and I stayed home. We didn't watch, didn't ask for photos, didn't acknowledge it. I cried all day, mourned the daughter I'd lost. Not to death, but to something worse, to ingratitude, to betrayal. Drop a comment right now if you think Emma was wrong. And share this video because there are step-parents out there right now pouring their hearts into children who might do the same thing. But here's where the story takes a turn. 3 days after the wedding, I got a phone call from a number I didn't recognize. Hello? Mrs. Cooper? Patricia Cooper? Yes. This is Martin Hendricks. I'm an attorney representing the estate of Eleanor Morrison. I believe she was your late mother-in-law. James's mother had passed away 2 years ago. Sweet woman who'd loved Emma like her own granddaughter. Yes, I remember you handled her estate. I'm calling because there's been an issue with one of the estate accounts, specifically the trust fund Mrs. Morrison set up for Emma. My blood ran cold. What kind of issue? Someone has been trying to access the account. She's requesting information about the balance, the terms of distribution, how to claim the funds. The requests have been coming from a Christina Walsh. Do you know who that is? Yes, she's Emma's biological mother. I see. Well, Mrs. Walsh has been quite persistent. She's called my office 7 times in the past month. She's claiming that as Emma's mother, she should have access to information about the trust. She's even suggested that the funds should be released to her for Emma's benefit. The room was spinning. How much is in the trust? $350,000. Mrs. Morrison added to it over the years. It was supposed to be released to Emma on her 25th birthday or upon her marriage, whichever came first. Given that Emma just got married, the funds are now available. And Christina knows this? It appears so. And Mrs. Cooper, there's something else. The trust terms specify that the funds can only be released with approval from the trustee. Eleanor Morrison named you as the trustee, not Emma's father. You. Me. Eleanor had trusted me to protect Emma's inheritance. Why didn't Emma ever mention the trust to me? According to our records, Eleanor wanted it to be a surprise, a wedding gift. She left a letter to be delivered to Emma upon distribution of the funds. But given these access attempts from Ms. Walsh, I felt you should be aware. I sat down hard. Thank you for letting me know. There's one more thing. I did some research on Christina Walsh after her 7th call. She has significant debt, credit card debt, medical debt, back taxes, over $200,000. I believe she's targeting the trust fund to pay off her obligations. Of course she was. Christina hadn't come back because she loved Emma. She'd come back because Emma was about to inherit $350,000, and Christina needed money. And Emma, sweet, naive Emma, had no idea. I called James immediately, told him everything. We have to tell her, he said. She won't believe us. She'll think we're trying to poison her against Christina. Then we get proof. We hired a private investigator. Within a week, we had everything. Christina's financial records showing massive debt. Her phone records showing she'd been calling Martin Hendricks' office repeatedly. Her Facebook messages with Emma, which our investigator obtained through methods I didn't ask about. The messages were damning. Christina had been asking Emma about her finances, about her job, about whether she had any savings or investments, about family money. She'd been fishing for information. And in messages with someone else, someone named Tanya, Christina had been explicit. The trust fund is mine once she gets married. Her grandmother left it, but I'm her mother. I should get it. I just need to make sure that bitch stepmother doesn't interfere. That bitch stepmother? Me? Emma's wedding is in June. Once she's married, the money gets released. I'll convince her I need it for medical bills or something. She's so desperate for my approval, she'll do anything. I stared at those messages and felt rage like I'd never felt before. This woman hadn't come back for Emma. She'd come back for money. Like she could steal an inheritance. And Emma, she could steal an inheritance. And Emma had fallen for it. Had thrown me away for a con artist. "What do we do?" James asked. I thought about it for a long time. I could just tell Emma, show her the evidence, let her know the truth. But Emma had made her choice. She'd chosen Christina. She'd uninvited me from her wedding. She'd called me Patricia instead of Mum. She'd broken my heart. So I decided I'd protect her inheritance. But I wouldn't protect her from the consequences of her choices. I called Martin Hendricks. "I'm denying the request for distribution of the trust funds." "On what grounds?" "As trustee, I have discretion to delay distribution if I believe the funds would be mismanaged or if the beneficiary is being unduly influenced. I believe Emma is being manipulated by Christina Walsh for the purpose of accessing the trust. I'm freezing the funds pending a full investigation. That's within your rights as trustee. But Emma may challenge this." "Let her." 2 days later, Emma called me, screaming. "What did you do? Why are you blocking my trust fund?" "Because your biological mother is trying to steal it." "That's a lie. Christina loves me. She came back because she wanted to be in my life." "She came back because your grandmother left you $350,000 and Christina has $200,000 in debt." "You're making that up." "I have proof. Financial records, messages, so phone records of her calling the trust attorney 7 times trying to get information. Messages where she calls me a bitch and talks about how she's going to convince you to give her the money." Silence. "Emma, she doesn't love you. She loves your inheritance." "Stop it. You're just jealous because I chose her over you." "I'm not jealous. I'm protecting you from a con artist who abandoned you as a child and came back to rob you as an adult." "I don't believe you. Send me the proof." I did. I emailed her everything. Financial records, phone logs, the Facebook messages. She didn't respond. A week later, James's phone rang. It was Emma, crying. "Dad, I confronted Christina about the messages, about the debt." "What did she say?" "She admitted it. She said she did have debt, but that didn't mean she didn't love me. She said the money would help both of us, that we could share it, that we're family." "And what did you say?" "I told her to leave. I told her I never wanted to see her again." James paused. "I'm glad you saw the truth, Emma, but you need to understand what you did. You threw away the people who actually loved you for a con artist. You uninvited the woman who raised you from your wedding. You broke your mother's heart." "I know," Emma whispered. "I know. Can I talk to her?" "That's not up to me." He gave her my number. She called. "Mum?" Her voice was small, broken. I didn't answer. Didn't correct her for calling me Mom again. "Mum, I'm so sorry. I was so stupid, so ungrateful. You were right about everything. Christina only came back for money, and I chose her over you and Dad, over the people who actually raised me and loved me." Still, I said nothing. "I understand if you can't forgive me. I understand if you hate me. But I need you to know that I love you, that you're my real mother, that I was wrong." "You weren't wrong about loving your biological mother," I said quietly. "You were wrong about erasing me, about treating 12 years like they didn't matter, about choosing a stranger over the people who sacrificed everything for you." "I know. I would have shared you, Emma. I would have made room for Christina in your life if she'd actually wanted to be in it. But you didn't ask me to share. You asked me to disappear. You uninvited me from your wedding. You called me Patricia. I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't fix this. Sorry doesn't give me back the wedding I missed. The day I'd been looking forward to for 12 years. The moment I'd dreamed about. Gone. Because you decided I wasn't your real mother. Emma sobbed. Please. Please tell me how to fix this. You can't fix it, Emma. You can just learn from it. Learn that the people who show up every day matter more than the people who share your DNA. Learn that love is about action, not biology. Learn that when you throw away people who love you, you don't always get them back. I hung up. Let me know in the comments if I was too harsh, or if Emma needed to hear it. Emma tried to call back, multiple times. I didn't answer. She showed up at my house. I didn't answer the door. She sent letters. Long, tearful apologies, explanations, pleas for forgiveness. I read them. But I didn't respond. Because here's the thing. I do forgive Emma. I understand she was manipulated. I understand she was a young woman desperate for her biological mother's love and approval. But forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. Forgiveness doesn't mean pretending it didn't hurt. Forgiveness doesn't mean going back to the way things were. Emma made a choice, and choices have consequences. As for the trust fund, I eventually released it to Emma 6 months later, after Christina was completely out of the picture. Emma used it to pay for her apartment, start a savings account, invest in her future. She sends me Mother's Day cards every year now. She calls on my birthday. She invites me to holidays. I'm polite, I'm cordial. But I'm not her mum anymore. I'm Patricia, the woman who raised her when no one else would. The woman who loved her unconditionally until she learned that sometimes unconditional love isn't enough. Christina, by the way, tried to sue Emma for emotional damages when she found out she wasn't getting the trust money. The case was thrown out. Last I heard, she's back to being absent from Emma's life. Funny how that works. Derek, Emma's husband, divorced her a year after the wedding. Turns out he'd been cheating the whole time. Emma called me crying when it happened, asking if she could come over. I said no. James thinks I'm being too hard on her, that she's learned her lesson, that she was young and made a mistake. Maybe he's right. Maybe I should let her back in. But every time I think about forgiving her completely, I remember sitting at home on June 15th, the day of her wedding, crying in my bedroom while she walked down the aisle with a con artist. I remember being called Patricia instead of Mum. I remember being erased. And I think some bridges, once burned, can't be rebuilt. So if you're watching this and you're a step-parent, pouring your heart into someone else's child, loving them like your own, sacrificing everything for them, please protect your heart. Because biology is a powerful thing. And sometimes, no matter how much you love them, no matter how much you give them, they'll choose blood over you. And when they do, it's okay to walk away. It's okay to say, I gave you everything and you threw it away, and I don't have to accept that. You don't owe anyone endless chances, not even the children you raised. Before you go, smash that like button if this story hurt your heart. Subscribe for more stories every week. Share this with every step-parent you know who needs to hear that they matter, even when they're not appreciated. Drop a comment and tell me, should I forgive Emma completely? Or is it okay to keep my distance? Thank you for watching. And remember, being someone's mother and being someone's mum are two different things. I was Emma's mum. For 12 years, I was her mum. And then she decided I wasn't. So now I'm just Patricia, the woman who loved her daughter, until that daughter chose someone else.